Metaphormic extension introduction. Once the metaphormic extension is installed into your Chrome desktop browser, the metaphormic icon will be available in your menu bar. For example, you see this script M with the hot pink punctuation. And when you hover your cursor over it, you get a pop-up that says metaphormic. The icon allows you to select which sets you want to be active and to control a priority of the active sets. The icon allows you to launch the scratchpad, to enable disable metaphormic for current website, and to set options for the whitelist, blacklist. This green on-off will control whether the service is available for the current web page. It toggles from green to red to green. And this settings gear icon, when you click it, allows you to set whitelist, blacklist options. The Scratchpad is a web-based version of the metaphormic service. For some websites, metaphormic will associate a special metaphormic control with specific input fields that are watched for set trigger terms of those sets that you have active. That watching can be disabled or enabled on a per web page basis, which is what this green on-off control will do. Options for the whitelist, blacklist control include enable metaphormic for all websites, the first option. Enable metaphormic for identified websites, a whitelist, second option. Disable metaphormic for identified websites, blacklist, third option. Or disable metaphormic for all websites, the fourth option. There are associated controls where you can edit the whitelist and the blacklist. Under here it says show list of appropriate sites, which ones have been associated with turning them on, which ones have been enabled, and get these controls for the third option of the blacklist to show the ones which have been blacklisted. You can manually control that, or you can just hit this button to automatically add the current site to the blacklist and don't have to manually turn it off. We go back. Clicking on the metaphormic icon in the menu bar also brings up the currently available published sets that we and other set creators have made available. Each set has a control to its right. That control may be red or green. Red indicates that the associated set is inactive, and green indicates that the set is active. For example, I click on the metaphormic script M control in the menu bar, and a list of all the published sets are available, with the control to the right. There's a brief description of the name, the set creator, and the category in which the set resides. This first one that I've shown active with the green control is the one that we produced in my last video regarding set creation, sexual assault discussion, a beginning set. We'll have that active for this demonstration. Inactive sets are listed in alphabetical order, and the active sets are listed first in priority order. So they won't be in alphabetical order if they're green. The set having highest priority will be listed first, and decreasing priority will be shown second and third. Deactivating and activating a set makes it the highest priority, the priority being from the most recently activated to least recently activated. Priority is important in how the parsing engine highlights a term that may appear in multiple active sets. The parsing engine displaying the term based on the highest priority set that includes the target term. So if we had multiple sets with green, the default is to first show the set which is higher listed in this list. In the Scratchpad or in a related mode available with the extension we call X-ray mode, you have access to all input from all sets that include terms shared by multiple sets. That is, for conflicting terms, you may see which sets contain the term and how that set defines use of the term, as I'll demonstrate later. The extension allows some native mode support for supported websites such as the comments section of the New York Times or the web-based Twitter. In this example, we will select and activate the same set we created in the set creation video, sexual assault discussion, the beginning set. While entering our content, the metaphormic extension watches the content and highlights the text directly in the comments field. Green for use, red for don't use, and yellow for substitution. We'll go to the New York Times webpage and we say, here's an article about Matt Lauer offering an apology. We may want to make a comment with that set active about discussing sexual assault. This article allows us to make comments on the web page. We come up here and we want to share our thoughts. And if you remember when we use the scratch pad and the terms we defined in the set, we had boys will be boys, and you notice that it becomes highlighted just within the New York Times website the same way it was in the scratch pad. This is what we call native mode support. We also had defined a term, I believe you, which we wanted to be a green term, and there it is, highlighted in green. We said that another red don't use term was, why didn't you call the police? And you see that the why didn't you is red. And we also said that some people may have a question about whether to use the term victim or survivor. So if we started using the term victim, we see that it becomes yellow, suggesting that there's a substitution available. You can hover your cursor over these highlighted terms, and the control will bring up a pop-up menu that gives you the same kind of annotations that you saw before. Here it's advised use of the term. When speaking to a victim of sexual assault, it is important to tell that person that you believe them. Boys will be boys. Advise against use of this term. Do not sympathize with the perpetrator. Why didn't you? Do not ask the person why you didn't call the police. Why didn't you tell person X? Or anything that suggests they are in any way at fault. And so you can read more about why the set creator thought that maybe you should consider not using such a phrase. And then in victim, as you see, this is where we have the substitute where you may want to use survivor instead. And in this one, you can actually make the substitution directly here. And as we saw in the scratch pad, the set was defined such that survivor could also be substituted with victim. And you can continue making these changes as you read the definition and maybe adjust your comment as appropriate. In this pop-up that appears when positioning the cursor over a highlighted term, in addition to the annotations and any alternatives, there is also a control. You see in the far upper right-hand corner the 4 outward facing arrows that you may choose to start and launch what we call the X-ray mode. We select that control and we get this screen that we call the X-ray mode that looks and performs much like the scratch pad, except for the manner in selecting and activating sets, which is done by the icon rather than the alternative of directly selecting them from this screen. The content you are working on in the comment section is pre-filled in for you, and you can then make the same substitutions as you highlight the term victim in this case. It'll say alternatives, consider using survivor instead, and then survivor, you can make the direct substitution, and then you can then choose the word, the term, a highlighted term, and get a discussion about that. You can, I believe you, when speaking to a victim, so you get the same annotation in a more easily used fashion. And click on boys will be boys. Do not sympathize with the perpetrator. So you can see the same thing. You can further edit the text. The comments may be further expanded upon and continue typing, all while the same sets are active. And before you close it, though, you have to copy the text, and when you exit, you may then copy and paste your modified text that was edited with the in X-ray mode into the comments section. So any edits you make in the content need to be copied to be sure that they will be available to you later. Thank you for watching and enjoy using Metaphormic.